It is July the 1st, 2022, and we're at New Hampshire Avenue in South Dakota. We're back at our Remembrance Park off of New Hampshire Avenue in the District of Columbia. And ladies and gentlemen of the District of Columbia, your Commander-in-Chief, the mayor, says she wishes to run again and run this district or city or whatever y'all call it up here. Now somebody came out here the other day and they cleaned up the drain hole, and I applaud them for that. The company that came out, the gentlemen that came out, and they did a good job. You know, we give kudos to those who do good work. They clean all the rubbish out of these drain off. Just so that you can see from the other day when I videotaped this, I recorded these. We don't have videos anymore. I recorded this. And they came out and they cleaned up these drain-offs, street drain-offs. And as you see, this is some kind of garden in the District of Columbia by this memorial park. But I'm going to tell you something and show you something that you all need to make sure that this mayor loses her job as Commander-in-Chief of this District of Columbia. As you see this park, let me go back here for a minute. This park is supposed to be in remembrance of these individuals, these 9 individuals right here who died on a metro train in the District of Columbia. Okay? And they made these little pillars for them. And everybody has their own way of grieving, and then these pillars, there are 9 of them in this little park. Some of them have the people's names on them, and some don't. I haven't found the names on all of them, so I looked. But then they also have this inscribed thing on the wall here. You might want to come out and look at it. It's very interesting. And this is a peaceful little park because, you know, when I come through here, I sit here and it's very peaceful. You hear the birds, you know, you can see the people working in their gardens out there. But as you see the trees, they're not being pruned back. You can see the grass not being pulled up along this concrete pillar. This light, this white little thing up under the bottom is a light. It's supposed to light up. It doesn't. It doesn't. As you see, there's grass growing in between the brick. As you see this grass growing in between this. This mayor is the Commander-in-Chief of this district. Her job is to make sure things run smoothly for the citizens of the District of Columbia. And as you see, this garbage is still here. This is unacceptable. 30 days since I've been coming by this park, this same trash has been sitting in these two containers, and now this bag, which a young lady who attends this church came and cleaned it up and put it in a bag because it was blowing all over the place. Look at this. But the commander-in-chief, who is the mayor of this district, should lose her job. She should never be elected to anything else. Excuse me. As you see, somebody came out here. Take my word for it. Somebody came out here, because I'm just getting back over here. This morning, I came through here to sit down, and there was nothing but leaves right around here. Somebody came and cleaned up all these leaves. I don't think it was the wind that did it. But as you see, they didn't prune or cut back these trees. There was leaves all around in here. But the thing is, why are you nitpicking a memorial park instead of keeping it clean? You see, trash up under here, the trees need to be pruned back. Somebody came out here and, like I say, they cleaned the leaves up this morning or this afternoon, sometime today. Whether they did it or the wind did it, because here's a lot of leaves over here, and it looked like it was more leaves than this. So I'm assuming somebody came by here and cleaned this up. But they're only nitpicking this cleaning. Look at the trees or the weeds inside of the gate. Somebody's smoking some strange shit around here. Got my throat all itchy. Look all in the what that out here? What they growing out here in this garden? Out here, somebody growing some illegal shit? Excuse me. Hey. You know, people putting flowers on here. So therefore, I know somebody's watching this. But the trees aren't pruned back. The garbage has been sitting here for almost, this is the second month, but the young lady said it's been longer than that. Let's go up here and see if this trash is being dumped. See, somebody came out here and they had to get a blower because there was more leaves than this. Looked like a mulcher came out here, or one of the, I don't know if the government did it or not. Yeah, our trash is still in there. You can see the spider webs on this one. It ain't even been clean. Trash is still in there. Mug stinks. They need to come out here and clean these mugs. God damn. These trees here have not been pruned back or cut. There's our bag right there that blew off. I don't know if God did this, blew all the leaves away and cleaned the place up or not. It might be the 9 people, memorials here, who put in a request to clean their memorial park up. But I know for a fact, citizens and taxpayers of the District of Columbia, it is time for this mayor to go. You dedicated this park to 9 individuals who fell in your city, and you're not even good enough to keep it clean. This is unacceptable. And I'm telling you, these garbage cans stink like shit. And these are family plots or whatever they call these things out here that citizens come out here and grow gardens and stuff. But this memorial park, how dirty it is unacceptable. Every week there should be someone coming out here to keep an eye on this park and to make sure that it is clean in remembrance of these 9 citizens who passed in a train accident in your city. But this is how this government works. Let's build a park to get these people off our backs so that they won't think about suing us or asking for big money. We'll build a park for them to go out and sit in remembrance of their fallen family members. And once we get them off our backs, let's fuck them. And that's how the government feels about certain things. Hey, some people don't like what I say. You know, I keep it 110. This government says, fuck you to the family members of these 9 people that died. Because if they cared about anything, they would be out here every week, once a week, sending somebody out here to make sure the lights work. Let me show you the lights. Look at the lights. See the water all in them? They don't work. They will make sure that the grass is cut, the trash is dumped, and that this memorial park would represent how they feel about these fallen citizens of the District of Columbia, or the DMV, how they say it up here. Coming out here, sweeping blowing the leaves off, and thinking that that's gonna quell a person from recording and bringing it to the taxpayers. It doesn't work with me. When I see something or unjust, I'm gonna make sure justice comes. How they say it, no justice, no peace. I don't just say it, I act on it. And that's what more people need to do. You need to pick up your cameras and start recording this unjust that is taking place by our employees. And when they don't do what we want them to do, let's terminate them. Let's get them out of office. This young lady who has been running the District of Columbia needs to go. And every one of her comrades need to go too. Look at this drain that is so full. How does water go out of this thing? Because it's never been clean. Look at this receptacle. It's broken. It doesn't even work. And common sense would have told whoever throw these leaves in here, when this little area fills up with water, these leaves these chopped up leaves, because it looked like somebody chopped them up. It's going to go down this drain, and it's going to stop it up. Or it's going to go down this drain down here and stop it up. They're bright. I mean, some bright individuals. See? When this little area fills up with water, a nice rain comes, it's going to stop up in it. All these leaves are going to float down to this drain, and it's going to stop it up. But again, this commander-in-chief who runs the government of the District of Columbia, it is election time, and it's time to vote her out of office. Serious. The lights that are around these statues, only one or two of them worked. No one's been out here to investigate if they're clean or not, if they're working or not. And it's sad. And you taxpayers of the District of Columbia, it is time to stand up and make change in your city. You know, you sit around and you pick and choose little things that this person has done. And I'm talking about the District of Columbia right now. The criminal the crime rate has risen. You have law enforcement that just don't give a damn no more because the system is broke. You have streets that are not maintained anymore. You have people running around doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. And this all falls on the commander-in-chief, which is the mayor. How long are you taxpayers gonna keep paying taxes and not getting your service? You know, there's a young lady on Capitol Hill, which for many years I've been watching her. Her name is Holmesley. And she uses the same rhetoric for many years. I don't know if she's there now. I would have to research it. But many years she would say the District of Columbia should be a state. No representation, no taxation without representation. What the taxpayers fail to realize is the District of Columbia is a federal park, and you can never make a state, a federal park, a state. But she played on the taxpayers of the District of Columbia with that saying for so long that they even put it on their tags. And every time I see it, all you have to do is educate yourself, and you would have saw that this woman is a joke. Is a joke. That's the same thing about taxing citizens in the District of Columbia. The Constitution and the Supreme Law is very clear. It's very clear. You are only supposed to pay state and federal taxes. But over the years, because people have not educated themselves, the District of Columbia government has taxed their citizens illegally, because the District of Columbia It's not a state. They receive your tax dollars that you pay to the federal government. The federal government cuts them a check out of your tax dollars, and they double dip by extorting money from their citizens a second time. This is how corrupt this system is. Go back and read and for yourself. Citizens are only supposed to pay federal and state tax. And the government of the United States cuts the District of Columbia funds to run out of the federal taxes that you pay. You are not supposed to pay district tax, but they get away with it. And you want to know why? Because we're not educating ourselves. They know they're getting away. They know they're extorting money from you. But there's an old saying, ignorance of the law is no defense. And if you're going to be ignorant of the law, hey, that's on you. But we have to start educating ourselves. That's the same thing about this situation in Tacoma Park. They say, oh, the state gave us a permit to park in a no parking zone. Isn't that a crime? Are they above the law? How do they get a permit to park illegally in an area where the taxpayers don't get to park? Corruption. And I'm telling you, citizens, it is time to change this whole system around. And the funny thing about it, most people think that myself am against law enforcement. I'm going to show you a video. As a matter of fact, I'm downloading it right now to show you about a Prince George's County police officer on New Hampshire Avenue at the Advance Auto. I sat out there and I watched this officer for 20 minutes. You're going to see the video. And then I came up to his car and I asked him his name and his badge number, and he refused to give it to me. The arrogance of him to do that to his boss. Okay? But the thing is this. I wasn't trying to get him in trouble. He was out of his jurisdiction. I was trying to prove a point to him. If I was a lunatic, and we have them in this world today, and it's getting worse. But if I was a lunatic and I was out to get individuals wearing that badge and that uniform, riding around in those marked cars with a berry and cherry on top, it would have been over for him. And I tried to explain that to him. But he didn't even want to hear, because one, he got caught texting while on duty. But I tried to make him understand that while in uniform, one, you shouldn't be texting because other citizens are not allowed to text or be on the phone when they're doing their job. So why are you there? Since I'm your boss, I'm checking on my employees. You know, but it hasn't sunk in that I'm their boss yet. But I was trying to make him aware that he's in a bad area, and if there was a lunatic out to kill police officers, it would have been over for him if I was that lunatic. And the funny thing about it is, he refused to give me his name. I'm going to show you the video, and it's not to get him in any kind of trouble. It's out to make an awareness to the brass that he works for. One, they should make it mandatory that no law enforcement officer be allowed to be on their phone while on duty. 2, those berries and cherries should not be on unless you're going to an emergency. 3, they should bring back foot patrols. When I grew up, police used to walk through the neighborhoods. You got too many fat individuals on the force that no way in hell are they going to catch anybody on a foot patrol with the weight that they're walking around with. And I'm not talking about fat people. I mean, but if you're going to work in my department, we have to have a weight limit, because you're not going to catch nobody. Who you going to catch if you weighing 300 pounds, 275, 290, and you're not in shape to run? You're not going to catch nobody. I mean, you can fool yourself all you want to, but you're not going to catch nobody. So bring back foot patrol through the neighborhoods. Get to know the people in the neighborhoods. Get to know the kids in the neighborhood. But getting back to this officer. So I just happened to walk over to a buddy of mine that's a commissioned officer in Advanced Auto. And we were having a conversation just about this, that there's zero respect with the youth today. And it's a sad thing because they only learn respect when they get locked up and put in a cage, and then they get around individuals who for the rest of their life will be living in that cage and they don't care nothing else about anything else. And then these youth understand that they fucked up when all you see is bars, a commode, a cart, and gates. And there's nothing to glorify that. I've been there. Anybody, and this for you young generations who may watch my YouTube channel, if you think going to prison is something to glorify, I'm here to tell you it's not. It's not. There is zero, and I mean zero, respect when you get behind and locked in that cage. Every man for himself. I've been there. Been there. And I'm here to tell you, there's nothing like freedom. When you can't walk to the 7-Eleven, you can't walk to Burger King, you can't taste a soda, you can't taste a honey bun, you can't hold your girl, or you can't get a glass of ice water when you want to, you'll think twice about the foolishness that you're doing out here while you're free. When you get in there, all that is gone. All that is gone. I've been to every prison in the state of Maryland. And I'm telling you, you better stop the foolishness. And I'm talking to the young generation. Stop the foolishness. Because once you get behind them doors, you're on your own. And you're with individuals who don't mind raping you and killing you. They care nothing about your status. But getting back to the officer or killing an officer or killing another man or whatever, we'll get back to that another day about you young generation. But I'm here to tell you right now, you gotta stop that because nobody cares about you. You gotta care about yourself. And if you don't care about yourself, nobody else will. And once you get locked up, you damn better believe nobody in there care about you. Not even your own family members. Because It's every man for himself. Unless you join a gang and then you still by yourself. You know, I'm going to tell you a quick story while I got this on. I was in Hagerstown. Young man was in a gang. They call it the Old Castle in Hagerstown. Young man getting ready to get out the next day. And he belonged to a gang for protection. And just so happened, another inmate stole a bag of Maxwell coffee from this gang. And they told this young man who had packed up, getting ready to go home the next day, they put a hit on the guy who stole the Maxwell coffee. And the young man did the hit because he was in this gang. That's what you got to do. And it shows you that how much this gang cares about you, because this young man was getting ready to go home. And the young man implemented the hit, and he made a mistake and hit this other inmate in the neck. And the young man died because of this stabbing. And you know what happened? The young man that was about to get out the next day received life in prison. And they shipped his dumb ass up to Cumberland, where the lifers are. You see what I'm saying? To your young generation, you better stop the foolishness. Because freedom, being out here walking around, it's like, and I'm telling you, because I've been there, there's nothing like freedom. You know, once you go into that gladiator school and survive it, people say, why you do what you do? Because they can't touch me. That fear doesn't bother me no more. You know, my freedom is worth more than anything else. And I don't care if I'm going in there, I'm fighting for my freedom. But you young generation, it's time to lay down your guns, stop the foolishness, stop killing each other, because that's what these rich individuals want you to do, is kill each other. You don't own not one of these neighborhoods that you're killing each other over. Think about it. And if you're not willing, listen to me real carefully, young generation. If you're not willing to look a man in his eyes before you kill him, then you shouldn't do it. Don't stand a block away and empty a clip. When I grew up, we stood it and looked a person into their soul before we ended it. We didn't stand blocks away and spray a whole neighborhood. That's a coward move. Or we didn't walk up behind a man and get him in the back. That's a coward move. If you got a problem with a person because they said something to a woman or whatever, we fist fight. But I'm telling you, young generation, it's time for a change. It's time to put down the guns. It's time to pick up books and educate yourselves, because you're falling right in the traps of these individuals who you claim you don't even care for. But getting back to this PG County officer, he refused to give me his name and badge number. He said he wasn't going to do that. After I walked away from him and went over to talk to my buddy who's a commissioned officer with Advanced Auto, and we talked about the youth today, how we were growing up. I watched this officer in this patrol car on his computer. And I don't know what happened, but this officer got out of his car, walked all the way over to us, and it was a parking lot distance. And he came up to me and he says, "Are you ready to have a sensible conversation?" And I'm pretty sure, I can't be 100% sure, but I believe that they email each other about when they see people out recording them. And he got the 411 on that little area where I be hanging at the most. So he came over to me, and I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm telling you, I got nothing against law enforcement. I took the test. I was in law enforcement for a long time. But it is so corrupt now that it's unbelievable. But me and this officer had a nice conversation. And to this day, and believe me, everybody have bad days. Everybody. And that's why you never see, in none of my recordings, I never engage a law enforcement officer until they engage me. What I started to do was record our conversation, but this guy, when he came up to me and we started talking, I explained to him I wasn't trying to get him in trouble. I was most likely looking out for him to make sure that he watches himself so that he can go home at night and not run into a crazy individual who would sneak up on him and open up on him with an AK-47 or any kind of high-powered rifle while he's sitting in his cruiser texting. And we had a nice conversation. Probably 45 minutes we talked. But why I'm saying this is, when law enforcement needs to get out, and these brass, you need to make it mandatory that these officers get out of these cars and walk the beat and get to know the citizens, and let the citizens get to know them. You know, I meet a lot of law enforcement people when I videotape, you know, and unless they come and engage me in a serious conversation, you know, they're never going to know what I'm truly trying to do. Matter of fact, I've had a long conversation with a Tacoma Park law enforcement officer. I got nothing against law enforcement. If you look at one of my videos, you will see me and Officer Sims. As I told you, I like Officer Sims. Everybody has a bad day. But with me, I'm going to tell you this right now. Me going to prison changed my whole outlook on what I'm not going to accept anymore. Fear of going to prison, because the prison system is a gladiator school. I don't mind. Just like I told them, I'm going to use deadly force to get back to mine. You can have the body, but you would never have the mind. And that's what most of these people don't understand who go to prison. Let them have the body. Any one of these prison systems that I've been in, my main goal was to educate myself on the supreme law. And you can ask any correction officer who came across me. My cellie, most of the time, were law books and books. What I use the bottom bunk as my desk full of legal books to educate myself. And that's why now I'm going to press this issue of removing these corrupt individuals out of our system and bringing in an honest system, even down to law enforcement. Immunity, from my understanding, is about to come to the Maryland area. They're going to take it away from them. That's a baby step, and we're going to applaud it. Therefore, more honest people will join the police department, because now everybody's going to be held accountable for their own actions, and they're not going to be swayed by these corrupt individuals who walk around with these gold bars on their shoulders or shamrocks on their collars or shoulders. They're going to hold everybody accountable for their actions. And that's where we're going to have to start. And citizens and taxpayers, you're going to have to pick up your cameras and stop videotaping this foolishness and start taping your employees in the capacity of their jobs and putting them on social media. I don't want to care about butt-naked women on social media. I don't want to see the young generation holding wads of money and guns. Because let me tell you something right now. If you think you're cool and cute with that, I assure you, law enforcement is tracking your dumb ass down on social media who do that. And to you females who like to show your body, listen to me what I'm finna tell you. Who wants a woman like that? A real man doesn't. After the fuck, then what? Then what? It's time for a change. It's time for us to look in the mirror and take a change. Because the individuals in this world now are losing their minds. As me and this officer talked, they talk about gun control. Come on, gun control. I'm an advocate of guns. Not one gun has ever killed anybody. Not one gun has ever killed anybody. But we sit around all day long, these government officials that we employ, sit around here and talk about gun this, gun that. Oh, he shot up this place, he shot up that place. Let me explain to you, not one gun has ever killed anybody. And if you don't believe me, take that gun that you got, put it on the table, and tell it to shoot, and it never will. It's the individual behind that gun that kills, that we have laws to deal with them with, and we don't enforce it. We're so busy playing this smoke and mirrors with America people that they don't even understand that not one gun has ever killed anybody. It's the person behind it. Then they try to use the Second Amendment to the Constitution to say the right to bear arms means gun. That is not what the Second Amendment means. The right to bear arms, and if you look up the definition of arms, it is anything to defend yourself against an aggressor. If I choose to use a knife, a car, a bat, that is arms. It is not defining firearms. Nowhere did the Caucasian forefathers put the word firearms in the Second Amendment. That's the same thing about Roe versus Wade, abortion. The law is very clear on abortion or murder. Let me put it that way, murder or killing. Anything that moves on its own and you kill it, it's murder. So when that baby inside of a woman starts to move and you kill it, you have just committed homicide. Now, a woman says, we have a right. You damn sure you do have a right. You have a right to keep your motherfucking legs closed or wear some kind of contraceptive or make your man put up a rubber on, or you take a birth control pill. That is your right. But once that baby is born and you kill it, it becomes a murder. I know y'all may not like what I say, but I'm gonna keep it 100. You gotta get yourself together and come to realize what is taking place on this planet today. We're doing a lot of stuff behind these people who honestly are fucked up in the head anyway. And I mean these special organizations, the homosexual thing. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what you do in your bedroom behind closed doors, but I'm telling you right now, no way in this world that I'm going to go along with that. But if that's what you want to do in your bedroom, I got no problem with it. Let it stay in your bedroom. Don't bring it out here in the open for everybody to see. If that's what you want to do, hey, do it. But we shouldn't be trying to justify it through legislation and to making laws, same-sex marriages and all that kind of crazy stuff. I ain't for all that. But if that's what you want to do, there's a higher God that would deal with that at a later date. I would never do it. That you got to be mentally unstable to look at a same-sex person in a sexual kind of way. I have four brothers